では、お時間になりましたので、始めさせていただきたいと思います。皆さん、こんにちは。いつも大変お世話になっております。本日は世界お茶のみ話にお越しいただきありがとうございます。新入学、新生活など4月は新しい年度の始まりでお忙しい日々をお過ごしかと思いますが、お元気でしょうか。先月行われたドイツ編は電波環境の悪化により途中で配信を中断せざるを得なくなり大変申し訳ございませんでした。こちらに関しては編集した動画をすでにアップロードしておりますので、ぜひご覧いただければと思います。また、今回も YouTube からご視聴している皆さんには引き続きどうぞよろしくお願いいたします。さて、第44回世界お茶のみ話はフィリピン編になります。本日講師を務めますレイモンドさんは、フィリピンの公立学校の教師を得て、現在は土浦市で ALT として小学生に英語を教えられています。そして今回はご覧の通り、講演者に通訳がつきます。通訳を務めますのは寺田美智子さんです。よろしくお願いします。今回お配りした資料の中にフィリピンの地図が入っているかと思います。ご覧の通り、数多くの島から形成されていることがわかります。発表の中でたくさんの島が出てきますので、ぜひ照らし合わせてみてください。また、レイモンドさんから皆さんにクイズがあるそうなので、そちらもお楽しみください。では、発表に移りたいと思います。準備はよろしいでしょうか。では、レイモンドさん、寺田さん、よろしくお願いします。
皆さん、こんにちは。私の名前は Raymond Escudero です。私は日本語が上手ではありません。すみません。I am very happy to meet all of you today. I am honored to talk about my country, the Philippines.
本日はお聞きいただきありがとうございます。母国であるフィリピンのご紹介をさせていただき、大変光栄を持っております。
よろしくお願いします。Before we continue, let us watch this video first.
プレゼンテーションを始める前にビデオをご覧ください。
This video summarizes the few of the fun things that tourists can enjoy in the Philippines.
ご覧になったビデオはこれからCOVID-19 が終わりましたら、ぜひ訪ねてください。楽しいところがたくさんございます。
So this is the list of topics that we will be talking about today. Please take a look at them.
一応これが今日のプレゼンテーションでお話したいと思う項目です。
So the Philippines is claimed under the name of Spain in 1521. It was discovered by the Portuguese explorers sailing for Spain, and because it was discovered and made known to the world by Spain, so they named it after their then king, King Philip II.
フィリピンは1521年に、マゼラン率いるスペイン艦隊が、マゼラン率いるスペイン艦隊がフィリピンの島に到達し、当時の皇太子ですが、後にフィリペ2世となった国王の名にちなんで、フィリペの島、フィリピンと名付けられました。
Now this is the topography of the Philippines.
これがフィリピンの地形です。この気になる地図と比べてみてください。
It is located south of Japan, and it takes 4 hours of travel by plane from Manila to Narita Airport.
日本の南に位置して成田空港から4時間の飛行機で4時間で行くことができます。
Now the Philippines obviously has a lot of islands. I want to start our session or talk by asking you a question about the number of islands in the Philippines.
フィリピンにはたくさんの島があるのですが、これからクイズをしていただきたいと思います。いくつの島があるでしょうか。
Just guess. So again, how many islands are there in the Philippines? A, 1,408 islands. B, 3,700 islands. C, 4,107 islands. Or D, 7,641 islands.
ABC4 つの選択肢があります。3700、4107、7640。
If your answer is A, please raise your hand. Who says A?
と思われる方、お手を挙げてください。
B.
B は
C. D. Okay, well, let's find out. The answer is
答えは7641の島々があります。
It used to be 7,107 islands, but recent discoveries state that it's in fact 7,641
以
islands.
前は7107ということでしたが、ハイテクな機器によって7641となりました。
And because there are many islands in the Philippines, of course, there are also a lot of beautiful beaches.
島々には美しい海岸があります。
And we will be talking about the many beautiful beaches of the Philippines later on.
これからお話ししていきたいと思います。
So the capital of Japan is Tokyo, while the capital of the Philippines is Manila.
日本の首都は東京、フィリピンの首都はマニラです。
Now there are 2 main seasons in the Philippines.
3つの季節があります。
The rainy season, which starts from June to November,
雨季は6月から11月まで。
and the dry season, which is categorized into 2. The first category is the cool dry season, which starts from December to February.
涼しい寒気になりますが、これは12月から2月までです。
This is like winter in Japan. And the second category is the hot dry season, which starts from March to May.
暑い寒気は3月から5月までになり、夏ということになります。
So after when COVID-19 is gone and if you want to travel to the Philippines, the best time to go to the Philippines is either during the cool dry season or the hot dry season.
フィリピンにお越しいただくときには、この涼しい寒気、あるいは6月、3月から5月までの寒気の夏をお勧めいたします。
Now, the Philippines ranked 13. Again, the Philippines ranked 13 in the world with a population in 2019, with a population of over 106 million in 2018, which increased 1.37% in 2019, making it over 108 million.
この図は国連の世界人口推定2019番ですが、2019年は13位で1億600万。そして2019年になると 1.37% 増えて1億800万になっています。
While Japan ranked 11th.
日本は10位。
With a population of over 127 million in 2018, but it decreased negative 0.27% in 2019, making it over 126 million.
日本は2018年に1億2700万ですが、マイナス 0.27%、2019年には1億2600万になっております。
Now, I want to know the reason why the population of Japan is decreasing.
日本がなぜ人口が減ってきたのかはちょっとわかりません。
Anyone who has an idea?
どなたか理由がお分かりになる方いらっしゃいますでしょうか。
It has an aging population. So most of the population consists of older persons.
The population is aging.
I'm sorry, I don't.
One more time.
It has an aging population. So majority of the population consists of older persons. So there is more benefits here for retirement and health benefits for older persons.
ご老人の方々が亡くなっているということでしょうか。
So it's interesting, yes.
Yeah. I'm showing it's the culture, especially in my own experience. My husband is a Japanese. Like, he asked me before, like, how many kids do you want, or do you want to keep? Yes, I want 5 or 6, something like that, Filipino style. But actually, we don't think to have that much kids. But in Japan, I think, in my own experience, they think more of the future. So, if my job, I'm an ordinary man, I'm a salary man, so I must only have at least one, or don't have child. No need to have child. If I cannot, I don't have much money for the kids' future, for college or something like that. They think of the future mostly, in my own experience. Most of my friends talk like that, Japanese friends. But I'm not sure. Maybe, yeah.
今のご意見としては、将来のことを考えると日本はもう子供が1人か、もうこれ将来大学とかの教育のことを考えると、子供を長く。
Yeah, maybe. I'm not really sure. I just assume.
そうではないかというご意見です。
But I also heard about that too, that it's a little costly to raise a child here in Japan. All right. Now, there is a substantial ethnic diversity with the Philippines. Each color of this picture represents one ethnic group.
フィリピンにはかなりの民族の方が住んでおりまして、その色でその民族を分けてあります。かなり多様な民族構成になっております。
But among the common ethnic groups, or among the famous ethnic groups in the Philippines, are the Ifugaos in Cordillera region.
ルソン島ですが、これはコルディレラ、地域のイフガオですね。
The Tagalogs in Manila.
マリナ、ルソン島です。ルソン島のタガログ民族。
The Warais in Samar.
サマール島のワライ。
And the Maranaos in Lanao.
ラナオはミンダナオ島ですが、ミンダナオ島のマラナオ。
So these are just among the many ethnic groups in the Philippines.
かなり多くの民族が民族国家ですね。
And there's one more, the Zamboangueños in Zamboanga.
サンボアンゲームはミンダナオ島サンボガンガの民族です。
Right, now of course, because there are many ethnic groups in the Philippines, there are also many dialects.
たくさんの民族がいることはたくさんの言語、方言があるということですが、
Let's have a second quiz.
またクイズです。お答えください。
How many languages or dialects are there in the Philippines? A, 2. B, 48 to 80. C, 120 to 187. Or D, 240 to 360.
4つの選択肢です。
Please raise your hand if your answer is A.
A と考えられる方お手を挙げてください。
B,
B はどうでしょう。
C,
C
D. Let's find out. The answer is C. There is a total of 186 individual languages in the Philippines.
フィリピンには合計186の個別の言語があります。
So this picture represents, each color of this picture represents not only the ethnic groups, but it also represents the individual languages, the different dialects.
この色は民族だけではなくて言葉の違いで色分けをしてあります。
But English, or Filipino and English, are the official languages of the Philippines. We use both Filipino and English in education, in media, and even in offices.
フィリピン語、タガログ語を基本としておりますけれども、フィリピン語と英語が国の公用語になります。で、フィリピン語と英語は政府や教育、印刷物、それから商業ですね、ビジネスに用いられております。
And among the 186 individual dialects, the most widely used dialects are Tagalog, Cebuano, Ilocano, Hiligaynon or Ilonggo, Bicolano, Waray, Pampango, and Pangasinan.
186の個別の言語の中で最も広く使用されている8つの言語がありますが、タガログ語、セブ島のセブアノ語、ルソン島のイロカノ語、それからヒリガイノン語、またはイルン語、ルソン島のビコラノ語、サマール島のワライ語、ルソン島やはりパンパンガ語、またはパンガシナミ語を挙げてくださいました。主な8つの方言です。
Now let's talk about COVID-19. In Japan, as of March 29, 2021, there was a total of over 470,000 positive cases of COVID-19.
これは2021年3月29日現在の統計ですが、日本は47万件出ております。
And as of April 15th, the total cases increased to 522,000. So it increased.
で、増えております。
Now in the Philippines, as of March 29, 2021, the total number of cases was 732,000.
フィリピンでは73万2000件です。3月29日の時点で。
But as of April 15th, it increased to 904,000 cases.
4月16日の時点では90万を超えました。
So because the number of COVID-19 cases in the Philippines continue to rise, the government is continuously declaring enhanced community quarantine.
感染者の数が増えているので、政府では特定の地域を隔離措置を行っておりますし、入国制限が外出制限が行われております。
Now let's talk about education.
教育制度、教育についてお話しいたします。
This is the typical scenario of a classroom, or this is a typical classroom setting in the country.
フィリピンの教室、クラスルームの写真です。
Classes start in June and end in March.
6月に始まり、3月に終わります。
But there are some schools that have different academic school years. Some schools start in August and end in May.
8月に始まり、5月に終わる学校もあります。
Our education program is K-12. It covers kindergarten, 6 years in elementary, 4 years of junior high school, and 2 years of senior high school.
教育制度は幼稚園から高校ということで、まず幼稚園があり、初等教育の6年間があり、中学校が4年、高校が2年間の12年間になっています。
And another 4 to 5 years for tertiary education.
それからさらに高等教育として4年から5年の教育の準備をするために卒業に向けて、教育をしております、提供しております。
And colleges and universities start from June to March, but again, there are also some schools that start from August to May.
大学は6月から3月に始まり、8月から約5月に始まる大学もあります。
Now let's talk about mass media. In Japan, the most famous or popular application is LINE.
LINE は日本で最も多く使われているアプリケーションですね。
But in the Philippines, almost everyone has Facebook.
フィリピンではほとんど Facebook を使用しております。
Now, there are many Japanese anime that became popular in the Philippines.
フィリピンでは日本のアニメがとても人気になっています。これはポケモンです。
Yes, Pokemon, Doraemon, Inuyasha,
犬やしゃ、
Naruto,
ナルト、
Dragon Balls.
ドラゴンボール Z ですかね。
And recently, Kimetsu no Yaiba became very popular among kids in the Philippines.
子供たちには今日本でも人気になった鬼滅の刃をフィリピンの子供たちも人気で楽しんでいるようです。
The bravery of Tanjiro-san is awe-inspiring.
炭治郎さんが
He's brave.
勇敢な鬼と戦う炭治郎さんが人気です。
Right, now let's talk about sports. The most popular sport in the Philippines is basketball.
バスケットボールがフィリピンでは一番人気です。
But the Philippines also became popular in the world when it comes to boxing because of Manny Pacquiao. He once fought with Shin Terraces in 1998.
ボクシングでも有名で、マニー・バッキャオさんは、これは2000年代、アメリカのボクシングライターアソシエーション協会、アメリカ系の雑誌ですが、過去10年間の最優秀選手に選ばれていて、今は政治家だそうです。
And Manny Pacquiao was named Fighter of the Decade for the 2000s by the Boxing Writers Association of America.
アメリカの雑誌ですね。ボクシングライターアソシエーションで過去10年間の最優秀選手で選ばれています。
And I'm not sure if you watched the game between Manny Pacquiao and Shin Terraces, but the game was finished in just 3 minutes.
3分間で終わった試合ですね。
And of course, Manny Pacquiao won.
もちろんマニー・バッキャオさんが勝ちました。
But the Japanese firefighters are famous in the Philippines as also strong and brave, and the Filipino boxers are afraid to, have a fight with them because Japanese boxers are also strong.
日本のボクスラーのこともフィリピンでは、恐れているというか、とても勇敢に戦っているので、いい意味です。日本のボクサーもフィリピンで試合をしています。
Who likes boxing here?
ボクシングの好きな方。
That's nice. It's a little scary for me. Boxing. All right, now let's talk about government and politics. The president of the Philippines is President Rodrigo Duterte, and the vice president is Vice President Lenny Robredo.
政治の話になりますけれども、大統領はロドリゴ・ドゥテルテ、それから副大統領がレニー・ロブレです。
And when it comes to the relationships between Japan and the Philippines, we've always had a harmonious relationship with Japan since the Muromachi period of Japanese history.
日本とフィリピンの関係ですけれども、少なくとも室町時代に遡ると思います。ちょうど御朱印船貿易があったことだと思いますけれども。
During the Muromachi period, many Japanese settled in the Philippines for trading purposes and for trading purposes.
この時期に日本の商人たちがやってきて、ルソン島に定住していたようです。
Japan occupied the Philippines between 1942 and 1945. It was, if you remember, during World War II.
第二次世界大戦で、42年から45年フィリピンを占領しました。
And Japan and the Philippines have always had a deep bilateral relations up to the present.
日本とフィリピンは、異国間関係を続けております。
There are over 17,000 Japanese residing in the Philippines as of 2019.
2019年ですが、17,000人以上の日本人が住んでいます。
There are many Japanese that became famous in our country, and that includes Fumiya Shankai, who comes from Shizuoka.
有名な日本人としては、風宮山海、西田美穂、小高ニーナ、 佐藤明郎さんは日系ブラジル人。
He's half Japanese and half Brazilian. Okay, now let's go to the economy. Japan is one of our major trading partners, and our unit of currency is Philippine peso.
フィリピンの重要な貿易相手国の一つが含まれていますが、通貨はペソ、フィリピンペソです。
Japanese yen is twice the value of Philippine pesos. For example, 20 pesos is equivalent to 40 yen.
20ペソは40円。
I actually have a sample of Philippine money. These are coins. Please feel free to get one. It's my simple present for all of you. Yes, sitting here.
ご自由に触ってみて、出してみて結構です。20ペソが40円。50ペソが100円でしたね。
Now, the Philippines is one of the main centers in the world when it comes to business processing outsourcing.
2010年には世界のビジネスプロセスアウトソーリング、これ TPO ですけれども、要するに企業の業務を外部委託するということですが、アメリカ系のコールセンターなどがたくさんできています。英語圏の方からの外部委託業務があります。
In 2010 or 2010, it even eclipsed India when it comes to telemarketing, customer support, software development, and many others.
あるいはコマーシャルなコールセンターでソフトウェアがアメリカ系の企業の業務をするようになっています。それが一番のビジネスの中心になっています。
Now let's talk about transportation. We have lots of unique modes of transportation in the Philippines. If here in Japan we go to our workplaces by car or by buses, in the Philippines most of us travel by jeepneys. These are called jeepneys.
フィリピンの交通機関ってたくさんあるんですけれども、大抵の人はこのジープニーというのを使います。
But of course, we also have buses, trains, taxis, and another unique mode of transportation in the Philippines is called tricycle. It's like a small cab.
もちろんバスや列車やタクシーもあるんですけれども、トライセクル3人しか。
And because there are many islands in the Philippines, we transfer from one island to another using these kinds of boats.
島国ということですので、島から島への交通は小舟、ボートや少し大きなものが一番使われています。
We call it bangka.
バンカと呼ばれています。
Now, it is interesting to say that we were colonized by Spain for over 300 years. And up to the present, we still have imprints of their colonization through the churches and ruins, such as this one.
スペインには300年以上占領されておりましたので、スペインの建築物が残っております。これは一番古い教会ですけれども、セルトルのサントリーニです。
Another is this Daragat Church in Albay.
これはルソン島南部のアルバイにあるタラガ教会ですね。アルバイ州にあります。
The ruins in Talisay, Negros Occidental.
これはネグロス島のネグロスオクシデンタル州にある 萩西市にある建物ですけども、大きな邸宅の跡ですね。
The Kagsawa ruins in Albay.
これもルソン島南部ですが、アルバイ州のカグサワ遺跡。これは教会の塔ですね。
Sorry.
No,
These two mountains are same.
I'm sorry.
These two mountains are same.
Kagsawa and
Mountain.
mountains. Yes, this is very famous because it is a perfect cone-shaped Mayon volcano. The name of this volcano is Mayon.
そして
Mount.
あり
Looks
がと
like
うござ
Mount
います。
Fuji.
Is
マヨ
it,
ン火山です。
is it the same mountain in the other picture?
Yes, yes. It's both in Albay.
Yes.
アルバイ州にある有名なマヨン火山です。
Sorry. How often does it erupt?
How long?
How often does it erupt?
It takes about hundreds of years. It's not frequent. My accurate answer would be it's less of seldom.
Okay. But it,
Yes.
it looks like eruption.
It looks like it's erupting because of the smoke, yeah, but it doesn't erupt often.
マヨン火山という名前ですけども、そんなにたびたび噴火するわけではなくて、先ほどのカグサワ遺跡ですか。これは火山で入ってくる。
And this Mayon volcano is so big that it's visible in the entire region of Albay.
アルバイ州でどこかの見える大きな火山です。
Now let's talk about culture and tradition. The Philippines gives so much importance and emphasis on family, religion, and friendship.
フィリピンでは家族とか、宗教、友情を最も重要視しています。
And one of our practices in paying respect to the elderly is the honoring gesture. This is called pagmamano in Filipino, and it is done by taking the right hand of an elderly and putting it on our forehead.
家族の年長のメンバーに敬意を払う習慣として、長老への敬意の印として敬意を表する挨拶なんですけれども、右手を取ってこの額に当てるという。これはマグママのあるいはママと呼ばれています。
In Japan, I think the way to express respect to the elderly is by bowing, right? Bowing. In the Philippines, it's pagmamano, or the honoring gesture.
日本で、敬意を表す仕方としてはまずお辞儀をしますけれども、フィリピンではお年寄りの右手を取って額に当てるという挨拶があります。
And when it comes to Christmas, I think the Philippines is the only country in the world that celebrates Christmas the longest. It starts from September until the second week of January.
フィリピンではクリスマスを9月からそして次の1月の第2週まで言われます。かなり世界では一番長いクリスマスを迎える国ではないでしょうか。
As early as September, we can already tell our friends Merry Christmas, even if it's not December 25th yet.
メリークリスマス。12月でなくてもご挨拶はメリークリスマス。
Right, right. Now, it's funny to say that I worked as an ALT in Suchura, and it was still December. It was already December, but not yet 25th. And I think it was around December 16th. And I told one of my teachers, Merry Christmas, Sensei. And he was shocked. It's not yet December 25th.
メールとしてつく学校で働いていらっしゃいますけれども、12月に入った時も11月でも同僚の先生にメリークリスマスで言うと、相手の先生はびっくりして、まだ25日じゃないよとおっしゃるようです。
Yeah, so in the Philippines, we can already say Merry Christmas as early as September, October, November, or any month between September to January, second week of January.
9月から1月の第2週までは、とにかくどんどんこの間の時期でしたら、みんなメリークリスマスと挨拶を交わします。
You have something to share?
I have a question for Japanese people, Japanese viewer here. Why do you think from September we're starting to greet everyone Merry Christmas? Why? Can you think of some reason? No?
One knows.
Spill
the beans.
I just assume Filipinos are so happy to celebrate Christmas because most of the Filipino were Catholic, so believe Jesus Christ. So someone, I'm not sure the background of it, but Filipino assume it's already Christmas when it started the months bear. The end of the month bear. Oh, it's Christmas bear already. September, October, November, December, something like that. And then when you go to Philippines, by September, it's already people are already hanging their Christmas trees,
Stars
and
all.
and
Lanterns.
lanterns. It's already Christmas on September.
この9月から1月の第2週まで、
Yes.
こういうクリスマスの飾り、
Yes.
それから、提灯と言っていいのか、ライトと言っていいのか、
Yes.
を飾って、
So in the year airport, when you arrive in October or late September, you can already see the big Christmas tree.
空港などにも10月に訪れたとしても、クリスマスツリーが飾ってあったようなイベントが飾ってあるということです。
Only in the Philippines.
クリスチャンの国、カトリックの国で、アジアでは唯一カトリックの国ではないかと思いますけれども、とにかく9月から11月の第2週までクリスマスをお祝いするようです。
And as early as September 1st, we can already start listening to Christmas songs.
Radio starting with
曲が流れています。
All right, now the Filipinos have a very strong sense of family. Sometimes even our friends, we consider them as our, one of our family members, and we are willing to do everything to protect our family.
強い家族意識があって、お友達、最も親しいお友達としても家族として、この写真すべてがこの家族として、意識が、家族意識があります。
And during Christmas, usually the families gather together, and the family is not just limited to one family with immediate family members, but the children of the mother, sister, and everyone will gather on Christmas.
クリスマスにはとにかくその直接の親戚だけではなくて、子供の母親の家族とか、友達の友達の家族とかが集まって、それも家族としてみんなでクリスマスをお祝いします。
Cousins, relatives, grandparents, and many others, we gather all together.
いとこはわかるんですけど、いとこたちとか、それから祖父母たち、それから友達も含めて大勢集まります。
All right. Now, this is called Budol Fight. We often have Budol Fight. It is a meal that dispenses the use of cutlery and dishes. We don't use plates, forks, and spoons. We just use our bare hands. And we do this during major celebrations like town fiestas, birthday parties, and many other major celebrations.
フードルファイト、フィリピンの伝統的な食べ方と紹介されましたけれども、カトラリー、 洋食器などは使いません。それからお皿も使わないで、食事をする人は手で食べて、主な誕生会とか、主なお祝いの席で、こういうごちそうを食べます。
But of course, we observe utmost cleanliness. Of course, we wash our hands before eating. But because of COVID-19, budol fights are not done anymore these days. Of course, for protection of our health.
もちろん手で食べるということですので、手はちゃんと洗いますけれども、ここ何年か、1、2年は全然やっておりません。もちろんその COVID-19 の感染予防のためです。
And we couldn't really do this anymore these days in the Philippines because non-essential events are encouraged not to be held because of COVID-19.
コロナ禍で、食べる習慣も変わっているようです。
And again, we were colonized by Spain for over 300 years, and one of their major influences to us Filipinos is Christianity. Most of us are very religious, and we go to church once a week, sometimes even twice a week.
スペインによる300年以上の占領で、カトリックの国です。で、ほとんどの人は毎週日曜日、時には週に2回、教会に行きます。非常に宗教的な国民だと思います。
Now, we have a lot of celebrations in the Philippines before COVID-19. We have a lot of festivals, and these festivals are held to honor our patron saints. Different cities have different patron saints, and we hold festivals to express our gratitude to our patron saints for protecting our city and for the economic abundance in our respective cities.
お祭りもたくさんあります。それぞれの町でいろいろあるんですけれども、コロナ禍の前にはたくさんあります。今はほとんどやってない。で、家族の健康を祈ったり、それから町の平安を祈ったり、それから豊作ですね。今日の豊作を感謝するようなお祭りがそれぞれの町であります。これは幼いイエス像を持ってお祝いしているお祭りです。
Let's watch a sample video of festivals in the Philippines. This is called Sinulog Festival. Just a moment.
お祭りのビデオをご覧ください。
Just a moment. So this is an example of a festival in the Philippines. This is very famous. It's called Sinulog Festival.
新ロブと呼ばれる町のお祭りです。
Just a moment. Alright, so Sinulog is just one of the many famous festivals in the Philippines.
フィリピンには多くのお祭りがそれぞれの町であります。それぞれの町、それぞれの町特有のお祭りもあります。
Okay, now let's talk about ethnic arts and crafts. These are examples of pottery, wood carving, weaving, and many others in the Philippines. And these are usually sold as umiyages.
織物、それからアンダー、楽器、それから陶器、そして木彫りのこれらはみんなお土産物として売られています。
Let's talk about dance. These are some of the famous dances in the Philippines, tribal dances.
フィリピンの有名な踊りですけれども。
Now let's watch a sample video of a Philippine folk dance, or folk dance.
ビデオをご覧ください。竹の棒です。
This specific Philippine folk dance requires an agile skill among dancers. Otherwise, their feet will be crushed by the bamboos.
今ご覧になっているビデオで足を挟んだり、足に引っかかったりするので、ちょっと危ない民族舞踊です。でも非常に有名で、ぜひご覧ください。
Okay. Now let's talk about tourism. The Philippines is famous for a lot of tourist spots or tourist destinations. One of these tourist destinations is Boracay. It is known for a white and powdery sand. Their beaches there are white and powdery.
ボロカイ島はビーチで有名で美しいビーチで、2012年
And it was named as the best island in the world by Travel and Leisure last 2012.
トラベルバスレジャーというのはアメリカ系の旅行雑誌ですけれども、そこで世界の最高の島、アジアナンバーワンのビーチに選
Now let's watch a video. This is just a short video about Boracay, so that you will have an idea about how it looks like and the fun things that you can do there.
ボラカイ島のビデオをご覧ください。ビーチや湖があります。
And Boracay is one of the popular destinations among retirees from different countries of the world, because in the Philippines, the cost of living is cheap. Yes.
フィリピンはその気候と生活費の安さから体力者の方の、要求に住みたいしというふうになっているんです。
And not only is it cheap, you also get to, do a lot of fun things, like many activities in Boracay.
ボラカイ島の生活費の安さに加えて、マリンアクティビティ、そういうのも安いので人気の島です。
Okay, just a moment. Now, aside from Boracay, we also have another famous tourist destination that is called the Nido Palawan. You can go kayaking, swimming, or diving in this wonderful destination.
これはパラワン島ですね。エルニドパラワン島でカヤックに乗ったり、水泳やダイビングを楽しむことができます。
Another tourist destination is the chocolate hills in Bohol. You can ride an all-terrain vehicle and enjoy nature there.
これはボホール島のチョコレートヒルズと呼ばれる地ですけれども、ATV に乗って自然を楽しむことができます。
Now in this picture, the hills look green, but during rainy season, these hills turn into brown because of the rain. The mud becomes more visible. So all the hills appear brownish, and so they would look like chocolates.
最初はグリーンで緑の草が生えているんですけれども、寒気になると枯れてチョコレート色になります。
And here you can find the smallest monkey in the world. This is called tarsier.
これはメカネザル、フィリピンメカネザル、ターシャと呼ばれている世界最小のお猿さんだと思います。
So this is Bohol, Philippines. Now let's talk about El Nido Palawan, or no, Puerto Princesa. This was declared as UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1999, and it was voted as a new Seven Wonders of Nature in 2012.
これはパラワン島のプエルトプリンセサ地下の流れる川ですね。地下の川をボートで、探索することができます。1999年、世界遺産に登録されましたし、2012年、世界新世界七不思議の一つに登録されています。これはミンダナオ島ですね。シアオガオ島。小さな島が並んでいるので、サーフィンとか、ボートで回ることができます。
This is Kawasan Falls in Badian, Cebu. You can enjoy canyoneering before arriving at this specific fall, Kawasan Falls.
これはセブ島のバリアンで、キャニオニングとおっしゃいましたけども、渓谷探検とか沢登りを楽しむことができます。
This is actually steep. It looks shallow here, but this is actually steep. And if you are adventurous, you can dive or you can jump.
写真ではちょっと小さく狭く見えますけれども、広いので、この方のようにここから飛び込むこともできます。
Unlike here in Japan, I noticed that in falls, there are many falls here in Japan, but we are not allowed to go swimming.
日本ではこういうところで泳ぐことは禁止されているようです。
Why is that? May know the reason why.
理由はご存知でしょうか。
No. Preserve, conserving water and all. Alright, now let's move on to another popular tourist destination. This, you can check out the preserved Spanish colonial and Asian architecture in Vigan, Ilocos. This is at the northernmost part of the country.
その北西部になりますけれども、スペインの植民地時代の建築が残されています。
So if you want to transport yourself to the old times, then you might enjoy Vigan, Ilocos.
スペイン植民地時代の、昔の街をご覧になりたければ、ぜひこのビガンに来てください。ぜひこのスペイン建築を調べてください。
It is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
ユネスコの世界遺産に登録されています。
And if you like whale sharks, then you can also enjoy swimming with whale sharks in Oslo, Cebu.
セブ島のオスロブでジンベエザメと一緒に泳ぐことができます。透明度が高くて水深も深いし、近海で泳げるのはここぐらいじゃないでしょうか。セブと沖縄ぐらいではないかと思います。
The fishermen feed these whale sharks with shrimp, luring the whales to approach them, and so the tourists would then enjoy swimming with these whale sharks.
餌をあげるとジンベエザメが寄ってきて一緒に泳ぐことができる。この図のようですね。
Okay, now let's talk about food. I think you've already heard this. Here in Japan, all Filipinos look for rice. Whatever we eat. Like we can eat spaghetti, we can eat a lot of other food, but at the end of the day, we would always look for rice.
米が主食です。やはり米が一番選ばれています。
Not all Filipinos, but most of us really eat rice in every meal.
いつもお米、ご飯を作ります。
And the main pairing of our utensils is spoon and fork. In restaurants, we use fork and knife, but in the Philippines, our main pairing is spoon and fork.
レストランではナイフとフォークがカップになると思うんですけれども、フィリピンではスプーンとフォークを使って食事をします。
And one of our famous dishes is called chicken adobo. This is actually interesting because it's similar to the food in Jamaica, right? This is a chicken, sort of a chicken stew. Chicken pieces are marinated in soy sauce and spices, and then it is pan-fried and stewed until tender.
この写真はチキンアドボと呼ばれるチキンシチューの一種です。鶏肉を醤油と香辛料でマリネして炒めて煮込んで柔らかくして食べます。
In major celebrations like birthdays, town fiestas, and other major celebrations, we always have chicken adobo. But chicken adobo can be very. You can also make pork adobo.
もういろんな場面で食べるんですけれども、ポークにする食べ方もあります。豚肉のアドボ。
This is our national dish in the Philippines. This is a whole roasted pig, but don't get us wrong. The insides of the pig are actually removed and are replaced with a lot of spices such as lemongrass, tamarind, garlic, onions, and many other spices.
レチョンバボイ。
Yes.
レチョンバボイですね。中を渡してレモングラスや玉ねぎ、ニンニク、玉ねぎ、チャイを詰めて丸ごと竹の串を刺して直火でローストしてさらに乗せます。
Right. Now, I remember telling you that we were occupied by Japan from 1942 until 1945. So we were occupied for 4 years, and one of the influences of Japan to the Philippines is this halo-halo. This is the Filipino version of kakigori in Japan.
42年から45年まで占領されてたんですけれども、日本のかき氷のフィリピン版ですね。
But halo-halo is more sweet. It's sweet.
ご覧のようにいろんなものが入っておりまして、かなり甘いかき氷になります。
Another famous dish is called pancit. It is consisting of stir-fried noodles, and this is usually prepared during birthdays because we believe that eating such will prolong the life of the birthday celebrant.
これは麺類を使った料理で、そばに近いものだと思いますけれど、長い麺を食べると長寿のお祝いになるというので、やはり長寿のお祝いに作られて食されます。
And of course, potechi. If Japanese love potechi, Filipinos also love snack food. And these are examples of the famous snack food in our country.
ポテトチップスはやっぱりフィリピンでも人気のポテチスナックになります。6種類があります。
Now, last part of our talk, we finally came to the last part. Please watch this video. It talks about some fun facts about our country.
最後にこのビデオですけれども、たくさんの面白い場面がありますので、ぜひご覧ください。
What if I told you there is a country where over 175 languages are spoken, people text more than anywhere else in the world, and boxing fights directly influence crime rates? It sounds pretty much unbelievable, but it's all true in the Philippines. 14. There are more than 175 spoken languages. There are 2 official languages in the Philippines, Filipino, based on Tagalog, and English. Filipino is the most commonly spoken and pop culture language, and the government of the country uses English in their work. By the way, the Philippines are number 5 on the list of the world's top English-speaking populations after US, India, Pakistan, and the UK. All this sounds pretty plain and ordinary, but in fact, the diverse linguistic groups living in the country use over 175 languages for their internal communication. Since many of them exist only in spoken form, it's impossible to calculate the exact amount. 13. Their capital is the most densely populated city in the world. The nation's capital, Manila, and its 16 surrounding cities that make up the Metro Manila area have a population of 12.8 million people. During the daytime, this number gets way higher since many people come here to work. And while the number doesn't sound that crazy, take note that all these people live and work in an area of 16.56 square miles. This makes the population density equal to 111,002 people per square mile. And that's 5 times higher than in Mumbai or Paris, for example. 12. They have churches in shopping malls. Shopping malls aren't merely a place where you buy stuff for Filipinos. They are safe, air-conditioned community hubs with gyms, health clinics, concert halls, nightclubs, parks, and even churches inside. So it's no surprise that they are the favorite place to meet up with friends for so many locals. And 3 of the world's 10 largest shopping malls are located in the Philippines. They are Mega Fashion Mall of SM Mega Mall, SM City North EDSA, and SM Mall of Asia. 11. Filipinos are the #1 texting nation in the world. You already know Filipinos love meeting up with friends at shopping malls, and when they can't see each other in person, they text. And when they do it, they rarely limit it to, hey, how are you? In fact, they send about 400 million texts a day, and that's around 142 billion texts a year. It's more than the US and Europe put together. Not exactly a little number for a country of 107 million people. 10. They have a unique form of transportation. If you visit Manila, you'll notice some interesting looking vehicles called jeepneys. They are converted US Army Jeeps that stayed in the country after World War II. Filipinos adapted them to transport up to 18 passengers who jump on the jeepney going in their direction and ring the bell for it to stop. There are about 50,000 jeepneys in Manila, and they all look different, with basketball stars, cartoon characters, inspirational quotes, neon lights, and whatnot on them. There are 2 major problems with jeepneys: safety concerns and pollution. They produce huge amounts of black smoke. So hurry up if you want to ride before they get replaced with a rapid transit system. 9. One of the islands has more volcanoes than towns. The Philippines are, without a doubt, a super scenic location. Among all the islands that are a part of it, Camiguin sure stands out, with more volcanoes per square mile than any other island on the planet. The island is 14 miles long and 8.5 miles wide, and has 7 volcanoes and 5 towns. And even though earthquakes and eruptions shaped it, volcanoes have been deep asleep since the 50s, so thousands of tourists can safely visit the island these days. 8. Their national flag has a secret meaning. The national flag of the Philippines has 2 bands of blue and scarlet, and a white triangle at the hoist with a yellow sun and 8 rays, each of them standing for one province of the country. The yellow stars stand for the 3 largest island groups, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. What makes the flag really unique is that it can be reversed to declare a state of war. This happened during the Filipino Revolutionary War of 1898 to 1901, and during World War II in 1941 to 1945. 7. Boxing directly affects crime rates in the country. Filipinos love boxing and are crazy about their most famous boxer, Manny Pacquiao. Whenever he fights, the whole country is glued to its TV sets. And according to the Philippine National Police, PNP, crime rates in the country drop significantly when he's in the ring. During his 12-round fight against American boxer Floyd Mayweather Jr. that went from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., not a single crime was committed in the whole Manila metropolitan area. It was basically the same during other major fights with the participation of the people's champ, Manny Pacquiao. 6. A lot of Filipinos work abroad. It might be because of their flexible and reliable character, or the fact that they speak great English as a second language. But more than 11 million Filipinos work abroad. It's around 11% of the population, and a quarter of all overseas nurses in the world come from the Philippines. 5. Their rice terraces are the 8th wonder of the world. Banawa rice terraces are the oldest in the world, and were so smartly designed that they still bring a harvest of rice and vegetables, most of which get exported. And it is believed if all the terraces had been built end to end, they would stretch halfway around the world. Today, these places bring the country more money as a tourist destination than rice plantations, and thus they play an important role for the economy of the Philippines. 4. They produce a lot of coconuts. For years, the Philippines have been the #1 producer of coconuts in the world. And even though the leadership now belongs to Indonesia, 153,532,000 tons per year is still an impressive number, isn't it? These coconuts are used to make anything from clothing to beauty products. 3. The first European to visit the Philippines was Ferdinand Magellan. The legendary explorer made the first record of the archipelago among the Europeans in 1521. He founded the first settlement in Cebu, and thus most of the area became a Spanish colony. This explains the fact that around 90% of the population are Christian, unlike most of the country's neighbors. In 1898, the Philippines went under U.S. rule, and later, in 1946, became an independent republic. 2. A Filipino made the first karaoke machine. If you love to sing along, you ought to thank Filipinos for your favorite pastime. The first karaoke machine in the world was created in 1975 by Roberto Del Rosario. He patented as the sing-along system, and even though there were some attempts to claim his creation, he still remains the only patent holder for the karaoke system. 1. The population is extremely good-looking. Along with their love for boxing, texting, and shopping, Filipinos are crazy about beauty pageants. It might be the years of American rule that gave them this love for competitive beauty, but the fact remains a fact. They have won in all major international pageants 15 times. There were 4 girls crowned Miss Universe, 1 Miss World, 6 title holders of Miss International, and 4 Miss Earth crowns. The first official pageant was held within the country in 1908. And since 2001, it's not just about beauty, but also for the promotion of environmental protection. Would you like to visit the Philippines? Or maybe you've already been there? Let me know in the comment section below.
Thank you very much for watching and listening.
お楽しみいただけましたでしょうか。通訳はつけませんでしたけれども、ご説明、レイモンさんのご説明からお分かりになったと思います。
Thank you very much, everyone, for watching and listening.
ビデオをご覧いただきありがとうございました。
はい、ありがとうございました。私もフィリピンに行ったことがあるんですけど、本当に9月ぐらいから街が変わったかのようにキラキラしだして、で、クリスマスは12月なんですけど、フィリピンも一年中夏なので、本当に不思議な感覚になりました。では、次応答に移りたいと思います。質問がある方は挙手をお願いいたします。はい。
Thank you for a great presentation. And I have 2 questions for you. Quick question. First one is about the rainy season in your country. And you said that in the Philippines, it lasts for about 6 months, right? Then on the other hand, in Japan, it lasts for only 1 month, but still I struggle to overcome it like every single year. So do you have any clues to overcome the rainy season?
Actually, it's even more impressive here in Japan because Japanese check the weather every day. And so I learned that you are sort of a fool if you are caught up in the rain here in Japan because you are so prepared and you check the weather forecast every day. In the Philippines, well, we always put in our bags umbrellas. We don't necessarily check the weather forecast every day, but we always put umbrellas in our bags, foldable umbrellas or raincoats. And well, there are some Filipinos who proceed with their daily activities even without umbrellas and just, take a bath under the rain. Yes.
ご質問は 長い雨季があります。日本では1月ぐらいですけれども、どういうふうにお過ごしになるかということで、あまり天気予報とかは気にしないで、雨具とか傘はいつも持っているけれども、あまり気にしない。日本人はやはり今日は雨かどうかはチェックするようですけれども、そういうことはあまりしないけれども、一応傘と雨具は持っている。
So yeah, the tip is always put umbrellas in your bag.
Okay, I'll do that maybe. Yes. And the second one is about education, English education especially. So in the Philippines, you guys start learning English in kindergarten, right?
Yes.
Then yeah, but in Japan it starts in junior high or elementary school. Then yeah, of course I know the earlier you start learning English, the more effectively you can improve it. But do you see any bad aspects of the fact that you guys start learning English in early period? Like, do you feel any any impacts on other languages, like other original languages like Adobo, for example?
I'm sorry, you're asking if there's a negative side
Yes.
in learning English at an early age?
Yes.
Is that it? Well, to kids, since kindergarten or in elementary, we already learn English, and it could be brain draining for them because it's a new language for them. So it's very challenging for them. So I think that's when learning English becomes a little stressful in learning it at an early age. But overall, we don't have complaints about learning English at an early age because it is very useful when we, finish our studies and get to work and all.
Yeah, I just imagine that if you start learning English very, in early period,
Okay.
yeah, you guys perhaps lose the tradition or something which can take from the original languages or original dialects or
We since kindergarten or since first grade, we don't just learn English. We also study about our national lingua franca as well, or our national language, which is Filipino. So we study both at the same time.
Okay, so you can learn
Yes.
many good things about your original dialects, and also you can learn English.
Right. So per Filipino, we know three languages: our mother tongue or our native language, and then Filipino and English. But then again, we learn Filipino and English at the same time. And if we have an interest in learning other languages, we have the freedom to do so, even since high school or even in elementary.
No, I'm really.
But other languages are not taught in elementary or in schools, aside from English and Filipino.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
幼稚園からの英語を習うということでご質問があったんですけども、レーモンドさんのは、母国語とフィリピン語と英語を習ったときにストレスをかかるようなことはないということで、自然に両方のタガログとフィリピン語と英語で教育を受けていて、選べることは選べるんですけれども、90% 以上は英語で教育を受けています。
はい、ありがとうございます。他に質問のある方いらっしゃいますでしょうか。はい。
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. So we enjoyed very much. So you mentioned that most popular sport is basketball in Philippines. So recently, Japanese basketball player is playing in US, in the NBA, like Hachimura or Watanabe. So how about Philippines? So are there any NBA players?
We have I couldn't exactly remember the name, but he's not like 100% Filipino. He's half American and half Filipino, who is one of the members of a basketball team in America. Yeah, but not so many. Yes.
フィリピンもバスケットボールが盛んなようですけれども、アメリカがね、有名にいった選手の見た。
I remember one. Well, I have bad memory. It's at the tip of my tongue, but I couldn't exactly remember it. It's at the tip of my tongue.
アメリカで NBA で活躍している選手を一人いると思ってるんですけども、今名前は思い出せません。
He is a son of a celebrity in the Philippines.
So young people have aspirations to play NBA?
Yes, I mean, every single Filipino who loves basketball, they have a strong desire to one day represent the Philippines in the NBA. Yeah.
みんな子供たちはバスケットボールについてやはり NBA に憧れている。
I have one more question, if possible. Actually, so we Japanese are not strict religious people, but so we enjoy very much Christmas. So it's kind of a romantic event. So how do you feel about that?
Well, we have what we call diversity, cultural differences, and we are well aware of that coming here in Japan, and we don't want to impose our own culture here in Japan. It should be us adjusting to the culture of Japan, and not Japan adjusting to the culture of the Philippines. So I don't see any problem with that at all. So yeah, it's fine with me that it's more of a romantic event in Japan and less of a religious event.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
かなりクリスマスの中で賑やかなことが何ヶ月もあって行われているようですけれども、日本でお暮らしになってその文化的な違いとかを感じられますかということでしたけれども、ボーリーで言えばどうですかね、おっしゃってませんでしたけれども、全然自分の文化を日本人のステーとか日本人のそういうことはしていない。非常に低くやってらっしゃる。
In fact, we even blend in with the Japanese in their celebration of Christmas. Like you celebrate Christmas by eating fried chicken from Kentucky. We also do that here in Japan.
クリスマスに日本人は手をし並んで月の食べるようですけれども、そういうのはフィリピンではレイモンドさんは列は何だというふうにびっくりされたようです。日本のクリスマスだということで、楽しんでらっしゃるんじゃないかと思いますけれども。
はい、ありがとうございます。他に質問のある方いらっしゃいますか？皆さん素晴らしい英語なんですけど、せっかく通訳さんがいますので、日本語でも大丈夫ですよ。はい。
Thank you for your presentation, and I'm glad to join this opportunity. And I'll try to speak in English. If you feel my poor English, please give me such a. And you said for Japanese anime became popular in the Philippines, and the most popular sport is basketball, you said. So I wonder, the basketball's anime is also popular in Philippines, like Slam
Dunk.
Yes.
Yes. I know. Yes, it is very popular in the Philippines. When I was even in high school, I used I used to watch Slam Dunk. So that Japanese basketball anime is very famous in the Philippines. Yes.
So, have you watched Slam Dunk in animation?
Sorry.
Have you watched Slam Dunk in your
Slam Dunk.
childhood?
Yes, but not all, just episodes of it. Because I got really curious. My brothers love playing basketball, but I don't know, for some reasons my heart just belongs to badminton. Yes. But yeah, I watched it when I was in high school. But not all of it, episodes of it.
Thank you very much. One more question, okay. Rice is the main food in Philippines. And how about the taste the rice? Is there any difference from Japanese rice?
In terms of size, the size of rice here in Japan is smaller compared to the rice in the Philippines. In the Philippines, it's a little thin and long, but here in Japan, it's a little short but thick. But in terms of the way rice is cooked here in Japan, it's more sticky.
Yes,
It's more sticky.
Glucose, more glucose than Philippines. Our rice are dry. Japan rice is more glucose.
Moist.
So, can Filipinos make rice bowl by using the Philippines rice?
Yes, we can, but the rice in the Philippines is not as a little sticky as the rice here in Japan. So it might need some, flour mixed with water to so that the rice would stick together. Yes.
I see. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
最初のご質問はバスケットボールがフィリピンでは人気があるということでしたけれども、アニメのスラムダンクをご覧になったことがありましたというご質問で、もちろん高校の時に人気になったということです。それからもう一つは日本のお米とフィリピンのお米の違いということで、ここにフィリピンのお米は少し長くて大人になっているので、おにぎりができるかというと、難しいからパラパラしている。そういうお答えです。もちろん小説はお米です。
I know it's already time, but I just want to add a little answer. Majority, it's not all though. There are some rice in the Philippines that are sticky, which is easy to make your rice ball, but 90% of our rice is not so sticky as Japan.
Thank you very much. Additional answer.
はい、ありがとうございました。では、お時間になりましたので、これにて終了とさせていただきます。レイモンドさんは今回の資料を作るにあたって、自分で調べながら日本語の字幕をつけてくださいました。これでフィリピンとはどういう国であったかがよく分かったと思います。レイモンドさん、寺田さん、本日はありがとうございました。皆様、盛大な拍手をお願いいたします。では次回はこちらの通りですね、5月15日にメキシコ編を予定しております。詳細につきましては、協会ホームページ、Facebook にてお知らせいたしますので、そちらをご確認ください。それでは、またのご参加をお待ちしております。本日はご来場、そしてご視聴していただきありがとうございました。